8 hidden signs you're attractive to women. Most men miss all of them. Psychology tricks. Sometimes the heart sees what is invisible to the eye. That truth matters more than most men realize, because at this very moment, while you are watching this, there is likely a woman in your life who feels drawn to you, maybe even deeply drawn to you, and you do not see it yet. Maybe it is one woman. Maybe it is more than one. But the signals are there. They have been there. Quiet, repeated, and far more obvious than you think once you learn what to look for. The problem is not that attraction is absent. The problem is that most men have never been taught how to recognize it. They miss the patterns. They overlook the small moments. They dismiss the very signs that could transform the way they see themselves and the way they carry themselves around women from this day forward. By the end of this video, that changes. You are going to see your past interactions differently. You are going to notice things you used to ignore. And one sign in particular, number 6, will hit harder than the rest because it happens when you are not even looking. It happens behind your back. It is the signal you were never expected to catch. And once you understand it, so many confusing moments from your life will suddenly make sense. So do not rush through this. Do not jump ahead. Every sign connects to the next, and only when you see the full pattern will you understand just how often attraction has been showing up in your life without you noticing it. Sign 1. The engineered proximity. There's a quiet truth about attraction that most men completely overlook, and it begins long before a single word is spoken, long before any obvious signal appears, long before anything you would normally recognize as interest, because attraction, especially when you understand female psychology, rarely announces itself loudly. It reveals itself in patterns, in positioning, in subtle decisions that don't look like decisions at all, and that brings us to the first sign, engineered proximity. Picture this clearly. She's in a crowded room, 40 people, multiple conversations, endless options for where she could stand, who she could talk to, where she could direct her attention, and yet she keeps appearing near you, not directly in front of you, not in a way that demands attention, but close enough, within your space, within your awareness. That is not random, that is not coincidence. That is intentional behavior wrapped in plausible deniability, one of the most powerful psychology tricks rooted deep in female psychology. A woman who feels drawn to you will not always approach you directly. Don't expect that. Don't wait for that. That is where most men fail. Instead, she adjusts her environment. She moves herself into your orbit. She creates opportunities without ever making it obvious. She'll walk past you to grab a drink she didn't urgently need. She'll shift conversations just to be closer to your position. She'll place herself where your eyes can find her without effort. And every action comes with a built-in excuse. I was just grabbing something. I was just talking to a friend. I just like this spot. That is the brilliance of it. It's never direct. It's never exposed. But the pattern never lies. 1 time, ignore it. 2 times, pay attention. 3 times, that is a decision. And here's where you must shift your mindset if you truly want to understand how to fall in love in a grounded, intelligent way. Because attraction is not about chasing obvious signals, it's about recognizing consistent behavior. Don't be passive. Don't sit there waiting for a perfect moment to land in your lap. That moment is already happening, you're just not seeing it. Most men miss this because they're conditioned to expect clarity, to expect bold moves, to expect a woman to step forward and make it undeniable. But that's not how attraction usually works, not in real life, not in subtle, emotionally intelligent dynamics. Women don't always come to you, they come near you. That is the test, that is the invitation. They close the distance halfway and then pause. They wait. Not out of hesitation, but out of design. They want to see if you're aware, if you're present, if you have the confidence to take that final step. This is where understanding psychology tricks becomes your advantage. Because once you recognize the pattern, everything changes. You stop second-guessing. You stop overthinking. You start observing. You start noticing how often she reappears in your space. You start seeing the invisible thread pulling her closer each time. And then you act. Not aggressively, not awkwardly, but calmly, confidently, naturally. You acknowledge her presence. You open the conversation. You bridge the gap she intentionally left open for you. That is how attraction flows when you align with it instead of resisting it. And this applies everywhere. At work, at social gatherings, in everyday environments where people cross paths without words. You'll begin to see women placing themselves near you, adjusting their positions, aligning their movements with yours in ways that seem casual on the surface but are deeply intentional underneath. This is female psychology in motion, quiet, strategic, elegant. And if you ignore it, you miss opportunity after opportunity without ever realizing it. So don't be most men. Don't sit there waiting for certainty. Don't wait for loud signals. Be aware. Be present. Be the man who notices what others overlook, because attraction often whispers before it ever speaks. And when you understand that, when you truly see it, you begin to understand not just how to fall in love, but how connection actually begins in silence, in proximity, in those small, repeated choices that reveal far more than words ever could. Sign 2, the voice shift. This is where things get quiet, almost invisible, yet incredibly revealing. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, and that's exactly why most men miss it. But once you learn to hear it, you can't ignore it again. When a woman feels drawn to a man, her voice begins to change, not in words, but in feeling. The texture softens, the warmth increases, the pace slows down, as if she's no longer rushing through the moment, but settling into it. That is not random. That is biology responding before logic has time to interfere. Research in vocal psychology makes this clear. Women unconsciously adjust their tone when speaking to someone they're attracted to, not because they plan it, not because they rehearse it. It just happens. And here's the truth. This is one of the purest signals you will ever receive because it's almost impossible to fake consistently. Now listen carefully. Don't focus on what she says. That is surface level. Words can be chosen, filtered, even manipulated. Instead, focus on how she says it. Does her voice soften when she speaks to you? Does it carry a kind of warmth that feels different from how she speaks to others? Maybe she slows down slightly, giving her words space to breathe. Maybe her laughter comes easier, lighter, more natural, as if she's not holding anything back. That is the moment where her guard drops. That is where her true emotional response leaks through. You must pay attention to contrast. Observe how she talks to other people. Notice the baseline. Then compare it to how she speaks to you. Is there a shift? A subtle change in tone, rhythm, or energy? That difference is everything. Don't overanalyze. Don't force meaning where there is none, but also don't ignore what is clearly there. A high-value man does not chase signals. He recognizes them. He stays calm. He observes. He understands that attraction often whispers before it ever speaks loudly. And this voice shift, it's a whisper, a quiet signal wrapped in softness and ease. When a woman feels safe and drawn to you, her nervous system relaxes. That relaxation shows up in her voice. It becomes warmer, more inviting, more fluid. That is not performance. That is response. And that response is triggered by your presence, your masculine energy, the way you carry yourself without needing to prove anything. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever noticed a woman speaking differently to you, but you brushed it off? Maybe you thought, that's just how she is. Maybe you missed the pattern. Don't make that mistake again, because the voice doesn't lie. It can't. Facial expressions can be controlled, words can be edited, but vocal tone is deeply tied to emotion and physiology. It reacts instantly. It reveals what the mind hasn't yet decided to admit. That is why this sign is so powerful and so overlooked. You must train your awareness, not in a tense analytical way, but in a calm, grounded way. Be present in conversations. Listen beyond the surface. Feel the energy behind the words. A man who can do this begins to attract women without effort, because he is no longer guessing, he is understanding. And understanding builds confidence. Real confidence, not loud, not forced, quiet, steady, certain. And here's something deeper. When her voice softens around you, it's not just attraction, it's comfort, it's openness, It's a sign that she feels something shift internally when you're near. That is your responsibility to handle with care. Don't rush, don't push, don't try to escalate too quickly. Be the man who can hold that space. Be the man who matches that softness with calm strength. That is how you attract women on a deeper level. That is how masculine energy expresses itself, not through pressure, but through presence. A high-value man understands that attraction is not built in grand gestures alone. It lives in small, almost invisible details. A tone of voice, a pause, a laugh that lingers just a second longer. These are the moments that reveal truth. And when you start noticing them, something changes inside you. You stop doubting. You stop chasing clarity because you begin to see what was always there. So next time you're speaking with her, don't just hear her words. Listen to her voice. Listen to the warmth. Listen to the rhythm. Ask yourself, does it change when she's with you? If the answer is yes, don't ignore it. That is not coincidence. That is connection beginning to form quietly, naturally, without announcement. Be aware, be steady, be the man who notices what others overlook. That is how you step into your power. That is how you become the kind of man who doesn't need to ask if he can attract women, because the answer is already unfolding in the way they speak to him. And if you felt that, if you've ever noticed that subtle shift but didn't trust it, this is your moment to wake up. Drop this in the comments right now. I pay attention to what others overlook, because that's the difference. Most men listen to words. Few men understand energy. Like the video, subscribe for more insight, and remember, attraction isn't always loud, but it always leaves a trace. Sign 3, the gratuitous question. Sign 3, the gratuitous question, is where most men lose the game without even realizing they were being tested in the first place. You're in a casual conversation, nothing special, just surface-level talk. Then suddenly she shifts. She asks something deeper, something more personal, something that wasn't required for the moment. What made you choose that path? What do you actually enjoy outside of work? Have you always thought like that? These are not random. Understand this clearly. Timing reveals intention. She didn't have to go there, but she chose to, and that choice is everything. As Dale Carnegie once said, to be interesting, be interested. When a woman asks deeper questions, she is investing attention. She is opening a door, and attention is the most valuable currency in human interaction. Don't ignore that. Most men brush it off. They say, she's just being nice. No, stop thinking like that. Be sharper, be more aware. A woman who is indifferent keeps things light, safe, and short. She doesn't dig. She doesn't explore. She doesn't expand the conversation. Why? Because she has no reason to, no curiosity, no emotional pull. But when she is interested, she leans in, mentally and emotionally. She wants to understand you. She wants to map you out. She wants to know what drives you, what shapes you, what separates you from every other man she meets. That is not casual. That is intentional. That is investment. And in modern life, where attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, phones buzzing, notifications firing, people distracted, if a woman chooses to focus on you, to ask you questions that go beyond the obvious, that is a signal you cannot afford to miss. This is where old Stoic wisdom comes in. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Don't get overly excited. Don't rush to impress. As Marcus Aurelius taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Control your response. When she asks, answer with clarity. Be direct. Be composed. That is how you demonstrate an iron mind. That is how you show presence. Because here's the truth. Attraction is not built on what you say. It's built on how you carry yourself while saying it. You must understand this. When she asks one question, it might be curiosity. When she asks several, when she consistently pulls the conversation deeper, when she keeps returning with more, now you're seeing a pattern. And patterns don't lie. That's not friendliness. That's interest growing in real time. That's her investing energy into you. And energy is not given freely. It is directed with purpose. So don't waste it. Don't fumble it by giving long, rambling answers. Don't try to impress with too much detail. Be sharp. Be intentional. Say enough, but not everything. Leave space. Let her come back with another question. That is how you keep the dynamic alive. That is how you build momentum. This is Stoicism win in action. Calm confidence, measured responses, emotional discipline. You're not chasing the conversation, you're guiding it. You're not reacting, you're responding with control. And that control is attractive, very attractive, because most men don't have it. Most men either shut down or overshare. You must do neither. You must operate from an iron mind, steady, aware, unshaken. When she sees that, when she feels that, her curiosity grows even stronger, and curiosity is the seed of attraction. Remember this line and remember it well. People chase what they don't fully understand but want to explore. That's your advantage. Use it wisely. In today's world, where conversations are shallow and attention spans are short, depth stands out. Depth is rare. And when she chooses to go there with you, it means you've already separated yourself from the crowd. So don't ruin it by acting like everyone else. Stay composed, stay grounded, stay intentional. That is old Stoic wisdom applied to modern attraction. That is how you win without forcing anything. That is how Stoicism win becomes real in your life. And if you've experienced this before, if a woman has asked you questions that felt unnecessary but kept coming back for more, then understand what was really happening. She wasn't just talking, she was investing. And next time, you'll see it clearly. Next time, you'll handle it differently. Next time, you'll move like a man with an iron mind. Sign 4, the detail callback. Sign 4 is what I call the detail callback, and if you miss this, you are missing one of the clearest signals hidden inside female psychology, because this does not happen in the first conversation when everything is surface level and polite. It shows up later, second, third, even the fifth interaction, when time has already tested whether you were just another face or someone who stayed in her mind. And suddenly, she brings up something small you mentioned weeks ago, a random restaurant, a movie you barely described, a minor problem you didn't think mattered. And she asks, "Did you ever try that place?" Or, "How did that situation turn out?" Or she says, "I saw something that reminded me of you." And you need to understand what is really happening here. This is not coincidence. This is not politeness. This is selective memory at work. And selective memory is one of the most powerful psychology tricks embedded in human behavior. Because people remember what emotionally registers, what sparks curiosity, what creates a subtle imprint. And in female psychology, attention is never random. It is earned. It is filtered. It is stored only when a man creates a feeling strong enough to stay. So when she recalls your words, days or weeks later, she is revealing something deeper than attraction. She is showing investment. And that is the foundation of how to fall in love. Because love does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with attention. Quiet, consistent attention. The kind that listens, stores, and returns. So do not brush this off. Do not laugh it away. Do not assume she does this with everyone. She does not. People are overwhelmed with information every single day. Conversations blur together. Faces fade. Details disappear. But the ones that remain are the ones tied to emotional relevance. And that is where you stand if she remembers you, not because your story was extraordinary, not because your words were perfect, but because you made her feel something in that moment. And that feeling anchored the memory. That is the mechanism behind these psychology tricks, simple on the surface, powerful underneath. And you must recognize the pattern, because a man who understands this stops chasing attention and starts creating presence. He stops trying to impress and starts making people feel seen, heard, and slightly intrigued. And here is your instruction. Do not ignore when a woman recalls your details. Acknowledge it. Appreciate it. But stay grounded. Do not overreact. Do not suddenly lean in with neediness. Be calm. Be steady. Be the man who expects to be remembered, because that is how to fall in love without losing control. You create space for her to invest while you remain centered. And when you combine awareness of female psychology with disciplined behavior, You begin to see these moments for what they are: signals, not guarantees, invitations, not conclusions. And you must respond with clarity, not confusion. Because the truth is simple: if she remembers you, you matter. And if you matter, you have already crossed a threshold most men never even notice. So pay attention. Sharpen your awareness. Use these psychology tricks not to manipulate, but to understand, not to chase, but to position yourself correctly. Because the man who sees what others miss is the man who naturally stands out. And in the quiet game of attraction, the smallest details often speak the loudest. If this hit you, don't brush it off. This is one of the clearest signs you matter more than you think. A woman doesn't remember small details by accident. She remembers because you stayed on her mind. That's attention. That's investment. That's real interest. So don't doubt it. Recognize it. Act with awareness, not hesitation. If you're starting to see it clearly, like this video, subscribe for more sharp insights, and drop this in the comments right now to lock it in. If she remembers the little things, I know I matter. Sign 5. The protective disclosure. Sign 5 is what most men completely misunderstand, and because of that, they miss one of the clearest signals of genuine attraction: the protective disclosure. At some point, without warning, she shifts the conversation away from the surface and into something real: a fear, an insecurity, a past mistake, something personal. Not small talk, not polite conversation. Real. And you need to understand this clearly. This is not random. This is not casual. This is vulnerability. And vulnerability is trust. A woman does not open that door for just anyone. She doesn't share her inner world because she's bored or because the moment feels convenient. She does it because something about you makes her feel safe. That is the signal. That is the moment. When she lowers her guard, it is not weakness. It is selective openness. It means she sees something in you that feels steady, grounded, and emotionally secure. That is the energy of a high-value man. Not loud, not performative, calm, present, unshaken. But here's where most men fail. They think this is the time to impress, to fix, to analyze, to give advice. Don't. That is not what she is asking for. She is not handing you a problem to solve. She is offering you a piece of herself to hold, and how you hold it determines everything that comes next. After she shares, she watches you closely, not obviously, but carefully. She's reading your face, your tone, your reaction. She's asking silent questions. Will you judge me? Will you pull away? Will you see me differently now? Or the most important one, will you stay the same? That is the test, not of your charm, not of your words, of your character. You must understand this. Attraction deepens not when you say the perfect thing, but when you become emotionally steady in moments that matter. A high-value man does not flinch when things get real. He doesn't get uncomfortable and rush to change the subject. He doesn't turn her vulnerability into a lecture. He stays grounded. He listens. He accepts. That is masculine energy in its purest form, calm strength in the presence of emotion. Think about it. Anyone can be fun when things are light. Anyone can be engaging when the conversation is easy. But when someone reveals something personal, the atmosphere changes. It becomes heavier, more honest, more human. And most men don't know how to handle that shift. They panic internally. They try to regain control. They break the moment. Don't be that man. Be the man who holds the space. Be the man who doesn't need to react immediately. Silence, when used correctly, is powerful. A simple, grounded response, "I appreciate you sharing that," can carry more weight than a long speech. Why? Because it shows presence. It shows respect. It shows that you're not overwhelmed. That is how you attract women on a deeper level, not through performance, but through emotional stability. And here's the deeper truth. When she shares something vulnerable, she is not just revealing her story, she is inviting you into her trust. That is a privilege, not an opportunity to prove yourself, not a stage to showcase your intelligence, a moment to demonstrate your consistency, your grounded nature, your ability to stay calm when things are real. Don't overreact. Don't underreact. Stay centered. That is the balance most men never learn. Because what she is really measuring is this: are you the same man when things get real as you are when things are easy? Or do you shift? Do you become awkward, distant, or overly intense? Consistency is attractive. Predictable emotional strength is attractive. That is what defines a high-value man. And understand this clearly: if you handle this moment right, something changes. Her attraction doesn't just stay the same, it deepens. Because now, in her mind, you are no longer just a man she enjoys talking to. You are a man she feels safe with. And safety, when combined with masculine energy, is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. So don't chase the moment. Don't try to control it. Let it unfold. Listen more than you speak. Be present more than you perform. That is how you attract women who are not just interested, but invested. Remember this line, because it will guide you in every interaction from this point forward. I don't react to her vulnerability. I honor it with calm strength. Sign 6. The third-party investigation. Sign 6, the third-party investigation, is where things get quiet, subtle, and incredibly revealing, because this is the moment attraction steps out of the obvious and into strategy. This is happening behind your back, outside your direct awareness, and if you're not paying attention, you will miss it entirely. Yet it may be one of the clearest indicators that you truly attract women on a deeper level. One day, out of nowhere, her friend starts engaging you more than usual, asking simple questions, smiling a little longer, keeping the conversation going just a bit more than necessary. Another day, a coworker casually drops a question. So, are you seeing anyone? As if it's nothing, as if it just came up randomly, but it didn't. And you must understand that this is not coincidence. This is coordination. This is information gathering. This is quiet curiosity backed by intention. As the old saying often attributed to Sun Tzu reminds us, all warfare is based on deception. And while this is not a battlefield, the principle still applies. People rarely reveal their true intentions directly when emotions are involved. Instead, they move indirectly, carefully, intelligently. That is exactly what is happening here. She is interested, but she is also cautious. She wants clarity without exposure. She wants truth without risk. So she sends others. They observe you. They ask about your life. They listen to your answers. They study how you speak when she is not present. Are you consistent? Are you respectful? Are you someone worth investing emotion into? This is not surface-level attraction anymore. This is evaluation. And you must recognize it for what it is. In modern life, where distractions are endless and attention is divided, people don't invest this kind of effort unless there is genuine interest. No one organizes quiet investigations for someone they feel neutral about. So, if you notice this pattern, if people around her suddenly take an interest in your personal life, your relationship status, your character, do not dismiss it. Do not brush it off. That is your signal. That is your confirmation. And here is where your mindset matters. You must not react with confusion or overexcitement. Be steady, be grounded. Be the man who doesn't need to chase validation because he already operates from self-respect. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes your advantage. Stay calm, stay consistent, stay in control of your behavior, whether she is watching or not, because in truth, you are always being observed indirectly. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That is your instruction, not performance, not pretending, being. Because those third parties, they are not just listening to your words, they are measuring your energy, your presence, your iron mind. And this is where most men fail. They act differently depending on who is in front of them. They become inconsistent, unpredictable, and that breaks trust before it even begins. Don't do that. Be the same man in every room. That is how you win. That is Stoicism win in action. You don't chase attention, you attract it through stability. You don't explain your value, you demonstrate it through behavior. And when you operate like this, something powerful happens. The reports that go back to her are strong, clear, and compelling. He's solid. He's focused. He's not trying too hard. That is what builds attraction at a level most men never reach. Remember this, attraction grows in silence more than in noise. It builds in observation more than in conversation. And when a woman chooses to understand you through others instead of confronting you directly, it means she sees potential worth protecting. That is not a small thing. That is significant. So don't ignore it. Don't overreact to it. Recognize it, understand it, and continue to move with intention. Build your iron mind. Apply old Stoic wisdom. Live in a way that requires no explanation. Because in the end, the strongest position you can hold is this: you are the same man whether she is watching or whether she is asking about you through someone else. That is power. That is clarity. That is how you truly attract women without ever needing to force it. If you're sharp enough to notice this, you're already playing a different game than most men, because most never realize that attraction often happens behind the scenes, through quiet questions and subtle investigations. So don't ignore it. Don't brush it off. Recognize it for what it is: interest moving carefully, intelligently, and intentionally in your direction. Now take control of that awareness, step up with clarity, and position yourself as the man worth knowing. If this opened your eyes, like the video, subscribe for more sharp insight, and drop this in the comments right now to lock it into your mindset. I see what others miss, and I move with confidence. Sign 7. The manufactured excuse to communicate. Sign 7 is what I call the manufactured excuse to communicate, and if you're not paying attention, you'll completely miss the signal hiding in plain sight. She sends you a link, a meme, a random question that doesn't really require your input, something small, something unnecessary, and that's exactly the point. It didn't need to be sent, but she chose to send it anyway. Don't brush that off. Don't assume it's casual. That is intention disguised as coincidence. In female psychology, direct pursuit is often softened, wrapped in subtlety, delivered in a way that protects her pride while still opening the door. She's not just sharing content, she's creating a reason to enter your space. Think about it. If she truly had no interest, there would be silence, no message, no effort. But instead, she finds a doorway, any doorway, to start a conversation. I just thought of you. I wanted your opinion. Simple words, light tone. But underneath, there's something deeper, a desire to connect, a desire to be seen by you. This is one of those psychology tricks that reveals more through action than through words. Because when someone consistently creates opportunities to talk to you, it's not random, it's emotional investment in motion. Be aware of the pattern. One message could mean nothing, but repeated small messages, that is a signal. That is her choosing you, again and again, in subtle ways. You must understand this. Attraction doesn't always show up as bold declarations. Often it shows up as quiet persistence, as gentle nudges, as reasons that don't quite make logical sense, but feel intentional when you step back and look at them. Don't overanalyze the content she sends. Analyze the fact that she sends anything at all. That is where the truth lives. In the world of how to fall in love, connection is built through frequency, through familiarity, through shared moments, even small ones. Every meme, every question, every random message is a thread, and thread by thread, she's weaving a connection with you. Now, here's where most men get it wrong. They respond passively, they give short answers, they miss the invitation. Don't do that. Be present, be engaged. That is your role. If she opens the door, you step through it with awareness and intention, not desperation, not overexcitement, calm confidence. Because understanding female psychology means recognizing effort, even when it's disguised as something casual. These psychology tricks are not manipulation. They are expression through subtlety. And if you learn to see them, you stop guessing. You start knowing. So the next time she sends you something random, pause for a second. Look beyond the surface. Ask yourself, why me? Why now? That question will reveal more than the message itself. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That is how awareness sharpens your perception. That is how you move from confusion to clarity. And that is how to fall in love, not by chasing, not by forcing, but by recognizing when someone is quietly choosing you, one small message at a time. Sign 8, the lingering goodbye. Sign 8, the lingering goodbye. This is where the truth reveals itself, not in what is said, but in what is delayed. The conversation is over. Logically, it's done. There's nothing left to add. And yet, she doesn't leave. Not immediately. She lingers. She stretches the moment. She searches, almost instinctively, for one more thread to hold on to, one more sentence, one more smile, one more reason not to walk away just yet. Pay attention to that, because time is the one thing people don't give away without meaning. When a woman chooses to stay a little longer, when she delays the ending, when she slows her steps or turns back for just one more thing, that is not sluche. That is intention wrapped in subtlety. She might adjust her bag. She might bring up something small, something that doesn't even matter. Oh, by the way, or I just remembered, yikes, these are not random phrases. That is her creating space, extending presence. Because she feels something she's not ready to cut off. And you must understand this. Attraction is not always loud. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers through hesitation, through pauses, through the quiet refusal to let a moment end too quickly. That is where a high-value man stays aware. He doesn't rush. He doesn't cut the moment short. He doesn't say, "All right, see you," and turn away too fast. Don't do that. Be present. Be calm. Let the moment breathe. Because when you carry masculine energy, grounded and steady, you don't chase endings. You allow space for connection to unfold. And in that space, she feels safe to linger, safe to stay, safe to explore that feeling just a little longer. That is how you attract women without forcing anything, not by trying harder, not by talking more, but by recognizing the invisible signals most men overlook. The lingering goodbye is one of the clearest of them all. She walks away slowly. That matters. People who are indifferent leave quickly, efficiently, cleanly. But when she slows down, when her steps don't match urgency, when there's a softness in her exit, that is emotion at work. And if she looks back, even for a second, that is confirmation, not of certainty, but of interest, of curiosity, of a connection she hasn't fully figured out yet. And you must not interrupt that process. Don't overanalyze in the moment. Don't rush to impress. Just hold your frame. Stay composed. That is what a high-value man does. He understands that attraction grows in silence just as much as in conversation. I'm not ready for this to end. She may never say those words out loud, but her actions will say it for her. In the delay, in the pause, in the unnecessary extension of a finished interaction. And if you miss that, you miss everything, because most men are too focused on what comes next, the next line, the next move, the next outcome. But real connection lives in the present moment. Right there, in that lingering space between goodbye and departure. So be aware. Don't rush. Don't cut it short because you're nervous or unsure. That is where you lose the advantage. That is where you fail to attract women, not because you lack value, but because you fail to recognize it in action. Masculine energy is patient. It is observant. It is grounded in the moment. And when you operate from that place, you begin to see these signals clearly. The lingering goodbye becomes obvious, predictable, even powerful. And here's the truth you must remember. Attraction is not built in grand gestures. It is built in small, repeated signals that reveal emotional investment. The lingering goodbye is one of those signals. Quiet, subtle, easy to miss. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That is your moment. Not to act desperately, but to simply be present, calm, and aware. That is how a high-value man moves. That is how masculine energy naturally attracts women, without force, without pressure, without noise. Hey, my friend, I'm glad you stayed until the very end. Listen carefully. This is something most men go their entire lives without ever realizing. Attraction isn't loud. It isn't obvious. It doesn't always look like what movies or social media tell you. It's quiet. It's subtle. It shows up in small moments, repeated patterns, and little details that most people overlook. So don't rush, don't overthink, and don't assume nothing is happening just because it's not dramatic. Be present. That is the key. Slow down your mind, observe more, react less. You must learn to notice, not chase, because the truth is simple. The signals are already there. They've always been there. And once you start seeing them, everything changes. Take this with you today. I see what others miss. I move with awareness. If that resonates with you, drop that line in the comments. Stay sharp, stay calm, and I'll see you in the next one.